Pangulo, who hired her?
Allegedly, it was Mar Rojas.
Wait a minute. Did we hear this right?
Yes.
Who hired the influencer to do the trending on Miss Joyce?
Joyce Ramirez is not exactly an influencer. She's more like a PR lady who handles, who has control over influencer, who has contracts with influencers.
Okay, so she claims that Secretary Rojas hired her to trend Nasaan ang Pangulo, which is actually against President Aquino at the time?
Let me clarify it, ma'am. The Nasaan ang Pangulo campaign, based on the information that I got, is a campaign that's intended to pin down all the blame over the Mama Sapano incident on Pinoy Aquino, on President Aquino, apparently so that if Mar runs for the presidency, he can be shielded from the bad PR. So basically, back then, because the Mama Sapano involves the DILG and Mar was under DILG, it will be Pinoy and Mar who will get the flack for it. So Nasaan ang Pangulo apparently was intended to focus all the bad PR on Pinoy and insulate Mar.
This is a very controversial and strong allegation against the former secretary. I hope that there's actual proof to this, that her services were contracted for this. And are there witnesses?
Yes.
Who is this? Secretary Lacerda.
It's a very offensive statement made by Mr. Nieto here, an allegation that has no basis. We were on the day that the caskets were flown into Fort Villamor. We were all there. Mr. Nieto spoke of a very irresponsible statement, and it's very malicious, all on the basis of allegations. You cannot speak in this floor before honorable senators an allegation which has no basis. That particular statement is malicious. And I'd like to correct him on that vigorously, because there's no such thing. If you recall, during the campaign, Mama Sapano was an issue against Mar Rojas. And if he thinks that Nasaan ang Pangulo chose not to be in Fort Villamor at that day because he wanted the family members to spend time with amongst themselves.
Secretary Lacerda, actually, when we look at the statement alone, or the act, Nasaan ang Pangulo?
We are a bit digressing, but the point in this entire topic is that if there's someone to ask, you might want to ask her. So I wrote this in February 2017, and this Miss Joyce Ramirez gave away a Microsoft Word document to other political camps while she was pitching her services, and it includes the Nasaan ng Pangulo project. And the Microsoft Word document that she was giving out has her name on the author, on the metadata field for author. So yeah, that's the evidence.
Therefore, Madam Chair, the person behind the Nasaan Pangulo is Joyce Ramirez.
Well, the evidence suggests
the evidence proves that. Okay, so who is she?
Well, I don't know.
Madam Chair, he is accusing based on the basis of 6 degrees of separation. That is not evidence. As a lawyer, I can speak. Attorney Florin Hilbay here is a lawyer. Those are not considered as evidence.
You know, I agree, Secretary Lacerda. At this point, this is still hearsay. But Mr. Nieto is saying that perhaps Joyce can come here and testify. But he's actually leading it towards that because he said that the document has Joyce imprint on it.
And the second point here is, I think the most important person to ask here is Mr. Kokoy Dayaw, but obviously he didn't want to go here today. The second one is Ms. Joyce Ramirez, and the third one would be Mr. Pete Silva. Mr. Pete Silva, in around January 2017, allegedly circulated a list of instructions that's intended to shield Vice President Leni Robredo from flack arising from her U.S. trip in the middle of Typhoon Nina. So this basically is the center of the Leni Leaks issue that went viral in January 2017. that email is just an email, and it could have been hearsay, but it was Commission on Filipinos Overseas Chief Imelda Nicolas, the sister of Lloyda Nicolas Lewis, who shared it. And Mr. Pete Silva basically appears to be someone who's directly connected to the Office of the Vice President and who issues specific instructions on how Lenny supporters will react. Because the email that he circulated shows that from the Office of the Vice President, so this is, we're gonna have a problem, something like this. We're gonna have a problem when Lenny comes back home, she's gonna be attacked, so this is what we're gonna do. Attack Bongbong Marcos and say Sandro is stupid, that he didn't graduate from Oxford, stuff like that. Very black propaganda. So the point here is we might want to, because when the news, sorry, I'm a bit digressing, but when the news organizations reported about it, I think they intentionally ignored that Pete Silva angle. So if we want to have a better idea on how the propaganda machine works, we might want to invite him too. So there's three people. First is Kokoy Dayaw. Second is Mr. Pete Silva of the Lenny Leaks controversy, because Kokoy might know Lenny. Kokoy might know Pete. And then number three is Ms. Joyce Ramirez. But Ms. Joyce Ramirez is just an optional, it's just optional. So Pete and Kokoy are more important than Joyce.
Madam Chair, may we ask Mr. Nieto to submit to your committee documents that he has or that he has acquired or in his possession to prove these allegations, or the reason, not prove, but why he is making these allegations, these documents about coming from nasa ng Pangulo and all that stuff. You would have it in your computers or your hard drive or wherever, or you have downloaded it.
Actually, it's
Please
all
submit all of it to the committee.
Okay, sir. 5 days? Yeah, Mr.
Kasi
Ahmed,
ngayon, ang maganda, Madam Chair, is siguro alam na ng publiko ngayon na makakapagtago ka sa umpisa. Pero there is a way pala of tracing you. Matitrace ka.
Opo.
Diba? Kahit na mag-bump sila eh. Dahil itong kay Kokoy Dayaw, may mga bump, ano?
Opo, medyo careless po si...
kunwari.
Sorry po, Mr. Senator.
Yes, go ahead.
Medyo careless po kasi po si Mr. Kokoy Dayaw claims to be a web security consultant of the President, of the PCOO, Aquino era PCOO. Tapos, kaya lang po kasi, no matter how careful you are, mag-iiwan ka ng mga breadcrumbs eh. And for people like me who enjoy looking for breadcrumbs, madadali ka. So, ganun po yung nangyari kay Mr. Kokoy at saka kay Mr. Pete Silva. So, ayun, ano po, hingi lang po kami ng ilang araw, 5 days daw po, sabi po ni Attorney Ahmed, yung counsel ko po, para i-prepare po yung mga documents.
Okay, I think marami nang na-raise tungkol kay Kokoy Dayaw. Obviously, is central to this hearing, but perhaps we can also move on to other questions that might...
Madam Chair, hindi pa ho sumasagot yung other influencers if they got paid during the previous election.
Senator, no. I was not paid by anyone.
Meron pa ba? No? Okay. Siguro, before we go to another point, because alam nyo, right now we're in the middle of discussing train, di ba? Government is trying to raise funds, and apparently, parang there's a industry that is not being captured by the BIR, which is itong in the industry ng influencers. Since parang you're knowledgeable about it, more or less magkano ba yung going rate if you're paying an influencer or you're hiring somebody to pay influencers?
Wala naman gustong kasing aamin na nakikipag-usap at nagbabayad sa influencer.
But Madam Chair,
yung ads na lang.
Diba, imbis na taasan natin ang excise tax, bakit hindi na lang natin habulin itong mga influencers?
Kung mahahabol natin, talagang dapat, di ba?
Madam Chair.
At kung pagmamahal sa bayan, baka naman hindi lang 30% ang ibigay nila, 60% of their income.
Because apparently, this is already an underground economy na hindi ko alam if it's a billion industry already. Siguro, si Ms. Angles can shed light to us.
Ma'am, I'm not sure about the extent or what I know is that in order to do my job, I have to talk to some of them, at least to understand what's going on. For instance, when you spot trends, etc., if this trend is manufactured or not. Before I continue, may I clarify? My position at the ASEC Mocha's office is not to handle her accounts, but simply to feed to her priority government information that she can put out in her blog. Okay. Now, as to actually, Madam, I find that an excellent suggestion to tax social media influencers because it is unreported, largely unreported. It would be nice if we see people registering their companies, and that way we also spot which trends it's easier to spot which trends are manufactured, which trends are assisted. But at the same time, I think they operate in the same way that public relations people operate. Some of them are connected with public relations firms and are hired directly by them. So I guess if we're going to investigate this, that's where we can begin.
Also, Madam Chair, if I may add, Madam Chair, in addition to Attorney Trix's assertions, maybe add also that if the Senate could look into social media platforms in order to be able to regulate them and be able to look into how we could not only make influencers answer to, because definitely they would perhaps not, because of course that's on their that would not be beneficial to them. And if government could look into and regulate social media platforms, because it is not only it's not only about fake news, it's about algorithms, it's about the business community also.
Technology really plays an important part, but I would like to give a chance also to the mainstream media to answer. I think they're unfairly being criticized also for certain things, and we wouldn't have reached this far also without the support of mainstream media in giving out the reports. And as I said, they're accountable to their immediate boss, to their network, to the ratings even, which can play a good and a bad part in their decision to present the news. Perhaps Ms. Ellen Tordesillas, because you were mentioned earlier by RJ. And then later on, let's ask Mr. Robbie Alampay also.
Yes, whereabouts was mentioned by Mr. Nieto. And just brief, no, kasi ayaw kong malayo yung discussion. The item was, it's about, because Verifiles, we are a group of journalists that undertake in-depth reporting. And one of our projects is we do fact check. We track false claims and misleading statement of public officials and figures and debunks them with factual evidence. We are accredited. We are the only accredited group here in the Philippines by the International Fact-Checking Network at Pointer. It's a global alliance of fact-checkers committed to advance accountability journalism. Now, yung ano kasi, yung minention niya yung isang pinak-check namin siya kasi sinabi niya nung June 16 na si Jess Asnar, is a photojournalist, kilala yan ng journalist natin dito, posted a live video of military operations in Marawi City while he was embedded with government troops. It's a very serious accusation, and because of what he said, in fact, there were the reactions to that. There was a report that the military was intending to sanction Jess Asnar for that. So meron kaming, I don't want to go to the technicalities of how we do it because marami kaming, we really have a process on how to fact check. But sa fact checking namin, sa process, lumabas, ang question kasi is, was the video posted by Asnar on May 25 live? Ang namin, no, it was not live. It was recorded. And kumuha pa kami ng opinion, professional opinion, what is live, what ang sinabi pa sa Pointer, sa it is recorded, so it is not live. Tapos, ang lumabas ka to, hindi na endanger ni Jess Asnar yung troops because umalis sila kasama ng, pinost niya yung kanyang video nung nakaalis na sila, kasama siya ng troops na umalis. So wala siyang na-endanger wala siyang na-endanger na troops. So yun ang point doon. Ngayon, ang ano ko lang kasi nakikinig ako sa mga discussion. Ako kasi uncomfortable ako sa phrase na fake news. Kasi oxymoron yun eh. Kasi yung one of the attributes of news is accuracy, truthfulness. So pag sinabi mong fake news, ano yan? I mean, paano maging fake ang totoo? Diba? So parang hindi tama yung word na fake news. Ngayon, kasi ang fake news are actually lies masquerading as truth. Ang tingin ko sa sitwasyon kasi dito sa bansa, ay may sapat naman tayong batas para madisiplina. Kung may pagkukulang man o may pagkakamali ang media, meron tayo, na-mention na ninyo kanina lahat. Ang nakikita kong problema ay ang mga opisyal ng pamahalaan na siyang nagsasabog ng kasinungalingan. Yun. A number of government officials, politicians, and other public figures tend to play fast and loose with the facts, in the process misleading the public. These lies spread easily owing to the big following and wide reach of these public figures, including on social media. Social media, yung Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, are just platforms. Na-mention na ito kanina, I think natas ito kanina ng chairman. They are vehicles for communications. Whether they are constructive or destructive, it depends on us, on how we use it. Now, nakikita ko sa bill ng SB 4092, yung kay Senator Villanueva, an act penalizing the malicious distribution of related violations, yung platform ang sinisisi at maparusahan. Parang hindi ata tama. Accountability should be on the sources of falsehood. Ang mahirap na dito, minsan sa mga reporters, kapag nagbigay ng sinungaling na pahayag yung isang opisyal, syempre i-quote namin yan as accurately as we can. Ay magagamit pa ngayon ang reporter sa pagkalat ng kasinungalingan at ng fake news, di ba? Now, what is deplorable in officials spreading falsehood is that they are doing this on taxpayers' money. If there has to be a new legislation on fake news, the onus should be on government officials who are the sources of falsehood, who use government resources to spread them. And this should cover the personal blogs of officials. Because
Ma'am, which? Like who? Please cite.
I will cite to you yun na lang yung kay President Duterte, yung bank accounts ni Trillanes. Yun, inamin niya later on na fake pala yung ginawa niya. But it was reported, di ba?
Sino po niya?
Presidente.
Okay, pero ginamit ng...
Siyempre, Nika, di ba? Pag magsasabi kasi ng sinungaling yung presidente, kasi kami sa Vera Files, nga we track false claims. Ang dami yan, every day, every week at least ang makakaya namin siguro mga, ilan ba yung mga 3 or 4 na mga false claims ng mga public officials at saka not necessarily basta public officials and personalities. So, pag sinabi kasi ng isang official yan, pag ikaw reporter, ang ano mo talaga is you quote as accurately as you can, di ba? Ay problema lang ay kung lies pala yung binigay sa iyo ng official, do you quote the lie accurately and then you make a news report at bit ay lie pala yun. Di ba? So di kasama ka ngayon. Ang mangyayari ngayon, it's a challenge to reporters eh.
Oh, so ma'am, when the president uttered that and then later on it wasn't verified properly, did they make a correction in that site?
Ano na yun ha? Kaya niya inamin na figment daw his imagination yon nung nabuko na siya, di ba? So isipin mo, di ba, nagkalat ka ng kasinungalingan. Yun ang, di ba? Tapos, yun, ginamit mo pa yung reporter sa pagkalat. Yan ang problema ng reporter kasi we're supposed to report truthfully, yung accuracy, di ba? Yung isang-isa kasing element ng news is that it has to be accurate.
Pero ma'am, you know what? You already reported accurately what the president uttered at the time.
What you report was a lie.
But what you reported, but you didn't commit that lie. So later on, you can do further research to substantiate or to disprove.
Oo.
I mean, no, but I know what you mean, ma'am, your predicament. And especially the PCOO will have to report live or to report word per word what is uttered by the president because they're under the office of the president.
So yun ang
but
point
should
ko.
they make the correction also?
Yun ang point ko is that ang problema ng legislation should, the burden should be on the source of falsehood because we should not be spreading lies in the first place.
Madam Chair, no, Ms. Tordesillas, Ellen, hindi naman ikaw nag-lie. You have a source eh. You quote the source.
Kahit
Di ba?
na
So whether lie o hindi sinabi, that's a different story. Ikaw, hindi ka nag-lie. Di ba?
Pero,
Alright. Because so many times our revered Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago has done that not only twice but thrice. And when you confront her with something else, she said, I lied.
So,
No, but I
Ganun lang yun eh. Hindi yun
understand.
ang problema. The problem is...
I understand your frustration, ma'am. You have to report these things as they come, and a lot of people are not necessarily forthright. Okay,
Madam
but of
Chair,
course,
Madam Chair,
it
my
doesn't
name
make
was
it right,
mentioned.
even if
May I just
Your name
make
was
a-
mentioned.
Yes, may I just
yes, please go ahead. And
May I
then
just,
GMA 7, I think your name was also mentioned. Wala bang ABS dito? Okay, ABS and then TV5. But go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name was mentioned, no, and I just wanted to point out yung Senate Bill number 1492, as mentioned a while ago, na pagka-kinote nila ang isang public official, they become liable. Of course not. There's nowhere in the bill, Madam Chair, that states pagka mali yung kinote nila, they are liable. Ang masama, alam nilang peke yung news, i-report nila ng i-report, at pagkatapos, dadagdagan pa nila ito, magkokos pa ng panic, magkokos pa ng pagkakawatak-watak. Just to quickly mention part of the bill that we wanted to espouse, Madam Chair. And I'd like to hear also, kasi kanina I was listening attentively to PCO about their interest on defining what fake news is. Yung fake news, pwede nating i-leave sa courts kung ano yung gusto nilang i-define. But still, if you want to define it, let's do it. But in the Senate Bill 1492, we'd like to come up with elements of what fake news is. And right here, Madam Chair, we figured out four elements. One is yung operative word dito, yung malicious intent. Malicious intent to offer, to publish, distribute, circulate. So yung pagpapakalat ng false news or information, tumutulong sa publication, distribution, circulation. Pangalawa, and all these elements must be present. Ito yung pinupush po natin. Just for the information of the body. Ito po ay nailathala sa dyaryo, telebisyon, radyo, maging sa online media. Pangatlo, ang impormasyon po ay nagkukos ng panic, pagkakawatak-watak, kaguluhan, galit, nagpapakalat ng propaganda na layong siraan ang reputasyon ng isang individual o grupo, organisasyon. At pang-apat, yung huling elemento, Madam Chair, yung may alam siya, not necessarily full knowledge, but meron siyang alam na yung kanyang ginagawa at pinapakalat na balita ay mali. Alam niyang mali. Alam niyang hindi inalok para pirmahan ng 7 senador. Alam niya yun. So, Madam Chair, and kanina, nabanggit na rin ng ating minority leader yung issue ng libel. And I just want to point this out, Madam Chair. While there are some perhaps overlaps on libel and fake news, gusto natin pakita, no? Sa libel, habang sa libelo po, pinaparusahan yung pagpapakalat ng malisyosong statement na nag-aakusa sa isang individual na talagang nakakasira ng reputasyon o pagkatao nito. Ang fake news sa panukala pong ito na ating isinusulong dito, ang pinaparusahan po ay ang malisyosong pagpapakalat, paggawa at paglathala ng maling balita, mali, na maaaring magdulot ng kaguluhan, pagkakawatak-watak at panik. Madam Chair, sa libelo